Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Energetics Podcast. I am your host, Kara Bunde-Dunn, and today we are going to be talking about when relationships fizzle and change and what is the deeper meaning that we're supposed to take from that. I will say, if you've been listening to some of the episodes lately, I am coming in raw. I don't have an intro or an X music on the extro or whatever you want to call it. I've just been hopping on the mic and talking about what's coming into my field. And that is just what feels most aligned for me. So I hope that it is most aligned for you too. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to get fancy editing in the future again, but for now, I just really wanted to hop on the mic and talk about what's coming into my field. So I will say this. The last 6 months in particular, I have been analyzing and thinking about my relationships and why they have changed and what is the bigger meaning. This is also happening with my friends and things they are going through, and with my clients and their one on one relationships and friendships and things that are changing. And they're asking for counsel and coaching and advice around what to do because change can be challenging. Our 3D human experience sometimes doesn't know how to process all of that. So, if you have ever thought, I wonder why this person I thought would be in my life forever drifts out of my life. Why does that happen? If you've ever thought that, this episode is for you. And I will say I have personally experienced this through a failed marriage, my first marriage. I like to call it a practice wedding, but whatever works for you. But through friendships that have shifted, evolved, and drifted, even, like one on one clients and the things they're going through as they're elevating and expanding and what's happening with them. So the reality is, as we evolve, our frequency shifts and changes. Now, that might seem kind of big and complicated, but let me break it down for you. What that means is, as we're expanding and changing, we vibrationally give out a different DNA, a different imprint. Our auras shift and change and vibrate out into the world in a different way. And if somebody is meant to come with you along with the newest version of you, they will, because they will vibrationally match you. So you either grow together or you grow apart. Have you ever heard that? Well, there are spiritual laws that explain why that is true. So before we go deep into that, I wanted to help you understand that we have a really hard time with this, including me. I've had a friendship that fizzled recently, and it was super hard for me. I was really sad about it. And we're going to get into it and talk about it a little bit later in this episode. Um, but what I do know for sure is that we have soul contracts with people. And soul contracts are essentially sacred agreements that we have with other souls that we plan before we are born. And we have people in our soul family, meaning we incarnate with them often and play different roles, whether that's brother, sister, friend, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, etc. All sorts of different roles. We contract to play different roles. And then we have people that are just meant to help us for like a reason or a season, and they're really only in this unique lifetime. But some people are meant to teach us how to love ourselves or others. Some people are meant to teach us boundaries. Some people are there to help us awaken as we go through pain or loss or suffering. But what I do know is every single person that you have a relationship with is there for a greater purpose. It is part of your soul's blueprint, part of your soul contract. So if you've ever heard the phrase, like some people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, that is absolutely freaking true. And energetically, we have expiration points or transitions that are contracted in our soul contracts. But our human 3D brains don't like it very much because it's painful. And we want to be like, why? It doesn't make sense. How come? But if you really go deep within your soul and you get honest with yourself about what that person mirrored to you or what you learned from the relationship in that experience, you will absolutely learn why that person was in your life. And it comes down to, like, when I talk about we all have a frequency or a vibration, it's a law of vibration. It's a spiritual law. And what it means is everything in the universe moves and vibrates at its own unique frequency. Think of it like a radio wave. Like, we all have our own radio wave. And when we upgrade our channel from like 89.9 to 93.7 or whatever channel it might be, your vibration changes. And when that happens, it's usually because you've done some deep healing, you've been on a spiritual awakening, your soul has grown or expanded, you've learned big life lessons, applied them to your life, and now live your life differently. So when people say people can't change, that is such bullshit. Absolutely, people can change. Have you changed? Are you different than who you were 10 years ago? I hope so. If you're not, then that's a good time to buckle up, Buttercup, and do some soul searching and some evolving. We are absolutely meant to grow and evolve and change. And as we do, we raise our vibrational frequency. And then what happens is we no longer have congruence with certain people, meaning your vibrations are no longer matching. You're like, I don't know why, but the vibe just feels off. Or you have that little intuitive whisper that's like, I don't think this is the right relationship for me anymore. And I'm going to give you some actual stories and anecdotes to help make this make sense. Okay. So, I got married when I was 21. I was like a very devout Christian, like hadn't had sex before marriage, like very, very prim and proper. I had this idea of what I thought I was supposed to be. And it isn't anybody's fault. And sometimes my parents, when hopefully they're not listening to this episode, but if they are, we've talked about it plenty. Um, my parents like feel guilty, like we should have been there for you. Why? I mean, those were the patterns we instilled in you, and then it caused harm to you. But the reality is, I had a soul contract to be raised in a super religious way and understand what that looks like to be that devout to my faith, to be that connected to what I viewed as what God wanted me to do, and then to learn to do it a totally different way as I grew into my adulthood. I 1,000,000% needed to learn that lesson. I would not trade it for anything. And I knew I wasn't meant to marry that person, but I couldn't stop myself. But really, I wasn't meant to stop myself. I was meant to marry that person so that I could learn the lessons of what does it mean to own your self-worth? What does it mean to sacrifice so much of yourself for someone else that you lose yourself? And how do you ensure that you don't do that anymore? I don't view that relationship as a failure. I view it as an initiation in self worth. And there is nothing wrong with that person. For those of you who listen to my podcast, who know who my ex husband is, like there is nothing wrong with him. He didn't do anything wrong to he showed up as who he was meant to be, and I did too. And the reality was our contract had ended. I had learned what I had meant to learn. And honestly, I genuinely believe he had some lessons to learn in what it meant to show up well for someone else too. He is happily married. I don't talk to him. I haven't talked to him in, I don't know, 15, 20 years. It's been a long time. But we have friends in common and he seems happy and I'm happy for him. Like, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that he could find his person just as I found mine, you know? And when that lesson was complete, when I learned that I was giving away all of my power to someone, he didn't make me do that. I chose to do that. When I learned that lesson, there was now incongruence in our vibration. Our match was no longer matching because I had decided I didn't want to accept that part of me anymore. And that was the part that I was playing for that person to support them, care for them, all the things beyond what they even asked me to do. I just felt like, I wanted to be that sacrificial good girl, do all that you're supposed to do, care for your husband, all the things. So it wasn't they didn't do anything wrong. Like I just mastered that karmic lesson. And then once I learned that lesson and it was now just my identity, I am somebody that manages my self-worth. I am somebody that believes that my dreams and my priorities matter too. Once I took on that identity, I no longer felt matched to this person. I knew it before, but I really knew it then. And in fact, I'll get a little personal. They were like, let's do all the things, like all the things I had asked to do like for years and years in the relationship. They were like, okay, fine, I'll do all those things. And I was like, I don't know, I'm done. I don't want to do any of those things. I am absolutely done in this relationship. So it was like a soul contract, boom, ending. So, um, it allowed me to grow into the person that I am today. And I don't know if I would be who I am today if I stayed in that relationship. So that's just something that I learned by that relationship going in and out of my life. I also have a one on one client that I'm coaching right now, and they're going through a huge spiritual expansion. They have mediumship abilities. They're just a super rad chick. And she has noticed that her old friendships don't feel the same anymore. And even some of the new friendships that she's bringing in, she's not sure if they're like meant to be permanent friendships. And she's really working through this right now as we speak. And the reason that it's feeling that way is because there used to be conversations that were really easy and lit her up and brought her joy. And now she's like, we talk and I don't even know if they're listening. I don't even know if they hear me because she has changed her vibrational frequency. She isn't doing anything wrong, but she is now spinning at a faster orbit than the energy around her. And there's now incongruence. It's like one is fast and one is slow, and they can't find the pattern to match each other. And we often think like we have to fix it because especially as women, granted I have men that listen to this podcast, but especially as women, and if you are a man listening to this, the women in your life are often this way. We feel like we need to like mother hen everybody. And when something is broken, we want to fix it. That is especially true for me. And if you have elements of people pleasing, that is also true for you. So, spirit is often like creating space for new connections that match our vibrational frequency. In order to do that, we have to let something fall off for something more of a match to come in. And that is where the pain of the human experience comes in because you're like, I want to have meaningful relationships. I don't want these stuff. What did I do wrong? What did they do wrong? What happened? Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes a whole lot of things happen. And for me personally, I had a friendship, one that has gone through different cycles of closeness and not as close, but we had been really a lot closer lately and spent a lot of time together, had a lot of spiritual things in common. And starting at towards the beginning of this year, the relationship just didn't feel quite as in sync. I'm not referencing the band. I'm just saying, like, it just didn't feel so in sync. And I thought, okay, I need to make more effort in this relationship. So I called, I texted. They would sometimes answer, sometimes not. And then after a while, several months of this, I finally just said, "Is something wrong? Are we okay? Like what's going on? Like I sense something is off. Is something wrong?" And the person said like, "No, nothing's wrong. My life's just busy." But I intuitively knew that wasn't true. I just knew she wasn't in a place where she had the capacity or energetically wanted to talk about it. So I just made that decision to be like, I'm just going to wait until they reach out to me. Then it was my 3 months later, it was my birthday, and the text message said, "Happy birthday." And my reply was, "Thanks." That was it. Cause I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, it's not really like a thoughtful friendship. I hope you have the best day ever, or like some type of nice thought or sentiment. It was more like a supposed to, like, well, I probably should text this person for their birthday, even though I'm not really spending any time with them. I will say this, I did not believe this person wished me harm or anything like that. I just knew they were going through a lot and I wanted to be there for them. And I wanted to, keep fostering that friendship, and it just wasn't happening. And so it it ate me up. I was sad. I was really sad, and I kept thinking like, why? Why is this person what happened? What the heck happened? And why do they like, why don't they wanna pick me? Why don't they like me? What's wrong with me? Why doesn't this person want to be my friend? And I really felt kinda shitty about it. And I didn't blame this person. It wasn't like I was like, "Oh, it's your fault," you know? I just was sad about it, like, really sad. In fact, I'm getting a little emotional now. I thought it was a friendship that was gonna go the distance, and then it just didn't. And I just felt really icky about it. So I thought, okay, it's now October. I'm going to reach out again. Almost, it's been almost, like 9 months. And I just reached out and I said, I don't know what happened, but I love you. I care about you and I wish you well. That's it. And I did get a reply back that felt like a little bit surface, like, hey, It's not you, it's me. I'm just going through stuff and I don't have the capacity to be the kind of friend you need. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, I'm learning something in this relationship too. Like I'm learning um what it means to separate myself from the need for acceptance from people and just to allow people to be who they're meant to be or let them have whatever season they're going through and not take it personally. Like that's a big lesson for me. Like poor little me get my feelings hurt is a big karmic lesson for me to say, oh, when you take back your power, if you think about like those bracelets, like what would Jesus do, right? You're like, oh, Jesus would just send them love. Jesus wouldn't be like, oh no, they don't love me back. Like, that's not what would happen. I just think about those old 90s bracelets I wore all the time. Those like cloth ones that say what WWJD, and I was like all about it. But I think about it often now still. What would Jesus do for real? One of the most beautiful teachers of love and acceptance and not judgment. I mean, you cannot find a better mentor or teacher that has ever walked the planet, genuinely. Jesus wouldn't take it personally. Jesus would just send them love. And so I worked on that. And I did a between life soul regression, which I'm going to talk about in another episode. And this person visited me and I literally hugged them and sent them love, had tears running down my eyes and just said, if being around me isn't helping you, I don't want that for you anyway. I want nothing but the best for you. Um, and then that person butt dialed me on accident that day, the same exact day. And I was like, of course they did. Because we were in the quantum field together. So that's why, duh. But the point is, like, I didn't do anything wrong. I just showed up who I was as I was. I just shined my light. I just stood in who I authentically am. And for whatever reason, not higher, lower, good, bad, right, wrong, our vibration was not a match. It was not bringing out whatever was needed for her in that friendship. And honestly, it's a mirror for me too. Every relationship is. And she was there to teach me about not having my worth or wrapped up in someone else's approval. I don't need someone to accept me for me to accept me. And so I allowed myself to be sad. I allowed myself to feel the feels, but I also allowed myself to work through it. And it got better and better and better. And now I feel so great about it. I'm like, okay, all right. I wish you, my best, that last text was, I wish you the best. That's it. Now, do I think we're going to be close? Probably not, but who freaking knows? Because if I have a soul contract that when we're 80, we're meant to come back together as friends, it'll happen. Even if I human 3D resist it, whatever's meant to be will be. It will happen on its own anyway. So I just trust that. I just trust that there's a separation for a reason, and I have to just let that be. So it is something that I navigate all the time and still do. And I wanted to talk about this romantically too. So I have a friend that has a failed marriage. She seems to always attract drama wherever she goes. We all have one of those friends, don't we? And but she's the biggest heart, like the most loving person ever. And over the last 2 years, she has been on a deep, deep journey of getting honest with herself, radical honesty. Why is this pattern happening? Why do I keep attracting men that treat me like shit? So if you know somebody that's like that, this little section is for you. So over the course of time, she started thinking, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to need somebody that much that I will accept that level of drama. And then my reply to them is drama. And so you are just like festering this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, mirroring drama and toxic relationships back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And now she has like such a positive, amazing relationship with someone for the first time. And her voice notes to me and messages are like, oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea this is what a relationship was like. And you're like, yeah, I know. Isn't it great? Like when you really genuinely love someone and they love you back and you can be your authentic self and it's positive and wonderful. But when she decided, I don't want chaos anymore, she made a choice and said, this isn't who I am. I am no longer somebody that lives in the chaos. She automatically shifted her vibration. She healed a pattern, probably an ancestral one, and she started to call in more peace in her life. Now, it was lonely, it was sad, it was a challenging time for her. She had to separate from a lot of relationships in order to find that out about herself. But now she is attracting all of this goodness all around her. So, when she made a decision to vibrate at a state of love and peace and not at a state of chaos and drama, guess what? More love and peace came around her. Isn't that crazy how that works? And it sounds so simple, but it just doesn't work that way. I mean, that is exactly what manifestation is. Manifestation is owning an identity and you are it. And then you're allowing the timeline of your human existence to catch up to you. But she literally manifested that relationship by being somebody that vibrates at a pattern in which she draws attention to her like a magnet. You're either magnetically drawing or retracting what is for you or not for you. So if somebody isn't for you, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Trust it. So when we think about like, whoa, okay, all of my relationships, all of my challenges, all of these patterns of people that have gone in and out of my life, what is it that spirit wants me to know? And the bigger lesson is that every relationship is a mirror. Some reflect the light back to us that we have grown into and become, and other relationships reveal the shadow that we're still working on, the dark parts of us that we are still working to integrate and heal. And when a relationship ends, it doesn't mean something went wrong. It often means that you've completed a chapter of your soul's agreement, your soul contract that you have contracted. You have learned the lesson, you have healed that karmic lesson. And now we no longer have this match. So we're going to drift apart. We have learned what we were meant to learn for each other. So every relationship is a mirror. It's mirroring to you who something you're meant to learn. And you are mirroring back things that they are meant to learn. So that is just the way it works. We have to just allow what is meant to come in and allow what is meant to go out. And I always say everything is happening for our highest and best good and the highest and best good of all. And if you are having a challenging relationship, I recommend that you pray that you have some level of a prayer right now around that particular intention. I pray for an outcome that is for the highest and best good of me and the highest and best good of all involved. May I have a loving, peaceful outcome that is for the highest and best good of myself and all involved. However, you want to say it. But you're setting that intention or that prayer that says, whatever is meant to be for your best good and my best good, I'm going to give it to God. I'm going to surrender and I'm going to trust. I'm going to release the sadness about this and I'm going to trust that it's all happening for a greater purpose. And that, my friends, is the real work. That is not an easy thing to do. So I invite you just to reflect on your life, just to take a pause and reflect on your relationships and think about one in particular that maybe has shifted recently. A friendship, a romantic relationship, a family member relationship, a coworker relationship. And instead of saying, what did I do wrong? I want you to ask yourself, what was I meant to learn? What did this person mirror me? What am I mirroring to this person? And maybe that relationship is meant to last forever, or maybe it was just meant to awaken something in you or heal something inside of you. So I really genuinely want you to say, what is spirit teaching me through this person or through this ending of this relationship? And then also just reflect on this idea. How can I honor the love that was shared while releasing the attachment to what was? And honestly, that's the hardest thing for me. How do I honor the love of that relationship, but also let go of the human 3D attachments to that person or what I had hoped would become of that relationship? That's the hardest part. So be gentle with yourself, give yourself some grace, and get really curious about these relationships because I truly, truly believe that sometimes spirit closes a door because our vibration is no longer meant to fit in that room. And I've talked about this a lot in my own friendships with people that maybe aren't as spiritually aligned as me, but it happens with people you're spiritually aligned with too. And that is like extra confusing. But you just have to trust that if you feel like your life is falling apart or relationships are falling away, it means you're in the messy middle. You're in the in between where new things are on the way and you're healing yourself and learning how to hold enough space for the new love that's coming into your life. And just know there's so much love for all people, whether they're meant to be in your circle or not. And inside my energetics mentorship community, I have this beautiful meditation that I often refer back to. And it's called like I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's a gold thread. And it's about this golden thread of light that connects us all. And some people are connected really in the center of the ball of the glow of light. And some people are connected way far out in this tiny little gold thread on the opposite side of this sphere. If you think about like a sphere or a ball of energy, and we're all interconnected to each other. We're all in the quantum field together, but living 3D human bodies, but our souls are connected. We're all, living in the light on the other side. And so we are connected in our human side too. And that meditation just allows us to see people for who they are, accept people for who they are, and not judge people for their challenges. Because what can happen when we think about not being a vibrational match anymore, we can sometimes get some spiritual ego. Like, oh, I've just evolved so much that I'm no longer a match for you. And ick, gross. Like, what if that person agreed in your soul contract to play that challenging relationship out of service to you, but they're actually a way more evolved soul than you? You don't freaking know. You have no idea. So don't judge them. Truly, don't judge them. And I have some beautiful meditations and tools that I give away for free on the resources page of my website, karmicleader.com/resources. I have a brand new workshop, some stuff that's going to be popping up in there. So always check there. That's a great place for you to be able to like get some tools and get some resources available to you. So I have an activation guide that's got a couple meditations in it, lots of cool stuff. And um, I I have a beautiful community where we do new workshops every month. We do new meditations every month because the reality is like we are meant to be on an evolution of growth and expansion, and it's a forever journey. And I wanted to have space for people to feel safe, to feel like this is where I want to hang out with people. This is where I want to be connected with people. I want like-minded souls where I can grow and expand with them together. So you're always welcome to come inside of that community. And I just want to say this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting this podcast. And, thank you for being an evolved soul and somebody that's willing to step up to the plate and dig deep and get curious about relationships and why some are meant to be in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I have so much love for you. Until next time, so much love and light.